Hey, what's going on? All right, so here is the 60-day update. Okay, today's July 5th, exactly 2 months ago today. I had sent out my first round of letters for credit to the credit agencies. Okay, so let me update you on everything that's happened with that and everything else. Okay, first of all, no more blue fairy. I took my hair out. I'm about to transition to a different color. It'll be a surprise for the next video. But I will say, look at this growth, because my hair is definitely a little bit thicker, a little bit longer. You know what I'm saying? I didn't have this fullness before I even started the blue. So biotin and rosemary oil mixed in with this oil is what I do. I have my own. I just mix those two in with that and use that almost every day. I don't put it in every day, but I put it in whenever almost every day. But anyway, so that's that. Update on my hair. Now, throughout this whole thing, I am going to go ahead and put, receipts, videos, of everything that I'm talking about. Ooh, excuse me. And y'all know how I get when I start talking. First of all, update on my glasses. They're crooked. Yeah, I look weird because they're crooked. They're not like this. They're like that. Because why? This broke. No. So yeah, that's these glasses are done pretty much. But I'm about to get some contacts, so I won't have to wear glasses anymore. For a while. Anyway, there's that. These are from Costco too, so these actually lasted a while. Honestly, they did. They lasted a while, so that's all good. I'm not tripping off that. Like I said, I'll just get contacts next time. But anyway, so yeah. Oh, excuse me. Oh, sorry. Anyway, yeah. So it's been 60 days. I keep biting my cheek. And my bite is off too. Like I keep biting my cheek. But it's okay. Anyway, so basically everything that's been updated is through Experian. TransUnion and Equifax have not really changed anything. The most that I've gotten off is with Experian only. So that's number one. But I will show you that I got everything deleted. Okay, I got everything deleted. I got my bankruptcy deleted. I got my child support deleted. I got all the inquiries, hard inquiries deleted. Okay, it's all. I got one name on there. I still have multiple addresses on there, but it's okay, because all the other big stuff that I was like, this is a challenge, I got that shit deleted. Okay, and honestly, it came off in 45 days. It came off in 45 days. Like, after I sent, so let me show you the progression. So I sent off the first letter talking about, excuse me. Okay, so I sent out the first letter to Experian saying, hey, I sent all these letters to all these creditors and they never got back to me to confirm, to validate the debt. They didn't send me proof of the contract of my wet signature, so you're gonna have to take these off, Experian. That was the first round. The second round I sent, I was like, okay, because they asked for proof that it was an identity theft situation. So I sent all that proof. I got the police report, sent all that proof. Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm a little excited, so I'm kind of going fast. And I'm like yawning in your face, my bad. So anyway, sent that proof. And then they deleted the inquiries. They deleted the, what else did they send in that they delete in that round? When I sent off the identity theft report and the police report, they started deleting pretty much a bunch of stuff. They deleted the Capital One. They deleted like 2 more credit cards, and then they deleted the child support. And then the third letter, because they were like, oh, a bankruptcy typically is not something that's, that happens when identity theft happens. They sent that, but I didn't even get a chance to respond to that specific letter because I by that point I had sent the letter of intent to sue notarized, and I sent it to Experian, okay? And after they received that, and then I sent a complaint to CFPB and was like, this is what they're doing, blah, blah, blah. I'm already sent a letter of intent to sue to them, just letting, CFPB know what's up, okay? And after that, that bankruptcy is gone. So I'm like, oh my God. I got so excited. Insert receipts here. Okay. Anyway, I was so excited. So now that I know that works and it only takes 45 days at the max, well, just in my experience and that experience alone, are you kidding? So my credit score went up. I'm at like 660 or something right now. I still have like 3 late payments I gotta take off. Basically, that's it. That's easy peasy. And then I'm just gonna do the same thing with TransUnion. I already sent them the first letter. So I'm gonna just, do everything else that I did with Experian with the other 2, and we're good to go. Oh my gosh, so freaking exciting. So that was a win. And then I can just do it every time. It's like a rinse and repeat sort of thing. So you can just, I'm excited. Like, that's so exciting. Okay, so that's number 1 that happened in the 60 days. I had my baby. I have my little baby. Insert pictures now. He's so cute. So that's him. Little Juicy Juice. We were struggling with the name because, but we kept it Italian, so it's okay. It's okay. We kept it Italian. Everybody has Italian names, which I think are just so pretty. So it's adorable. He's adorable, and I'm glad that I'm still alive. So let me just give you a quick story about what happened with that, because honestly, I am blessed to be alive still. That was my 6th surgery, 6th C-section. And it's crazy because I read on Facebook, back when I was on Facebook a lot, for entertainment purposes only, I had read that somebody commented, was like, oh yeah, I've had 6 C-sections and blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, damn. Because I was a little nervous because I think it was my 4th one or something like that. And I'm like, well, what if I do want more kids? Or what if maybe I can't have another C-section and everything be fine? So I was just nervous because I'm like, I don't want anything to happen to me. I think I already have all these problems. And, I don't want my body to give out. But God gave me a strong body. Like, I guess I was meant to have, go through, or my body to go through that sort of ordeal, because like I'm okay. But let me just tell you what happened. So first of all, I did not get any kind of, okay, so when I had started learning about like all the horrible things that have happened to other people when they take vaccines and when they take like big pharma medicines, all these side effects that they be having, and people end up with autism and on the retarded scale. It's like, I don't want to end up that way, and I don't want my kids to end up that way, and I'm glad that I haven't ended up that way, because I did get vaccines because my mom, took me to the doctor, and we all had vaccines and whatnot to go to school. So, but when I'm learning about it myself, I'm just like, I don't actually want my children to be injected with that sort of thing. And that I only came to that realization after I had my twins. My first babies were the twins, and we got them vaccinated. Well, when they were babies. When they started growing up and I started learning all these things, and then, everything else started happening, I was just like, oh yeah, no. Oh no, excuse me. I'm not doing no more vaccines. Like whatever they had to get them into the school or whatever was going on, because my belief that they had to have their, you know, vaccines and whatever other shots, right? Because they do more than just the vaccines. When they're first born, what was I saying? Anyway, I just decided, like, as they grew older, just to not give it to them. Me and my ex-husband disagreed about that, so he's got his own belief and I've got mine, and that's fine, you know what I'm saying? So anyway, after that, after I started learning about all that, you know, and the potential dangers that it comes with, all my other children after that, no vaccines at all. Like, when they were born, they didn't even get the little vitamin stuff that they put in their eyes. Like, they be doing, like, there's like 3 things that they do right off the bat when the baby comes out, like right off the bat. And I'm just like, I'm pretty sure all that wasn't necessary before people started doing it, so why would I do that and act like it's necessary now? Because you know, I'm pretty sure people back in the freaking 1800s, early 1900s, as early as freaking 1990s, weren't doing all of this extra shit, right? When we first come out the damn womb, like, dang, like, I'm pretty sure, like, they'll be fine. So, with all the rest of the babies, and there's 5 now, 5 after the twins, I said no to that shit they put in their eyes, no to the vaccines that they be giving them right off the bat, no to any other medication, because it's not necessary. And, you know, some doctors tried to fight me on it. Not fight me, but educate me on it, like passionately educate me on it, because, you know, people, I don't know, people really are like hanging on to this belief that all that shit is necessary when it's really not. So, you know, I say no. I didn't even get care, like, because I don't have to, you know what I'm saying? I don't have to take the prenatal vitamins. I don't have to get, you know, seen. I felt like strongly I didn't have to get seen, like, on a regular basis like that. I didn't have, you know, because unless there was something really, really wrong with me, like, unless I was, like, bleeding hella, unless I had, like, this intense pain, if you just so much as lightly tap me, then I'm not going to go to the hospital for anything. Like, there's nothing wrong, right? So, with each kid, I just went to the doctor less and less. I think with Gianna, because after the twins, then it starts with Gianna, Gianni, Giovanni, and then Giuseppe, the baby. So with Gianna, I didn't go as much. Like, I went a little bit, but then it's like, at that point, I was on Medi-Cal. So with the twins, I had Kaiser, and I was set up through an insurance policy through my job. So I think that was like the PPO insurance or whatever. So they treat you real nice, you know. You get a sonogram with every appointment. Like, you're in and out, no copay, everything's free. Like, the doctor's so happy to see you. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like it was a very different type of vibe whenever I would go to the hospital. So I was okay. I was cool. I was comfortable, and I didn't have any like problems. It was like a really quick sort of deal. When I get on Medi-Cal after I have the twins, you know, I get divorced, I get with someone else, and I start having more kids with my second husband, and then I'm on my Medi-Cal now. You know, it's kind of like it's a much different experience. Like, it's like, on one side, I experienced the PPO side, and now that I'm having more kids, but in a different scenario, I'm experiencing the Medi-Cal side. So I'm like, oh wow, I see the difference of how more difficult it is to even get seen, to even get a damn sonogram appointment with Medi-Cal insurance. And I'm just like, why the fuck is this? And it didn't make any sense to me, and it was just like a waste of time. So I was like, I don't feel like, it's cool that all this shit is free, but I really don't feel like going through all this if nothing is actually wrong. If all you're going to do is have me set up an appointment just to set up an appointment, or have an appointment just to get educated on things that I already know, that's not necessary. And I'm not about to waste my time, energy, because I'm already tired, I'm already pregnant, I already don't want to, you know, I already don't want to do this. I don't want to leave the house. I don't want to walk anywhere. Like, I don't want to, like, it's like, a waste of time. So that So what ended up happening is, increasingly, as I started having more babies. Okay, so with the twins, I had all these problems, right? They developed, like, I developed preeclampsia, I developed gestational diabetes, and the twins essentially stopped growing, right? They ended up being delivered at like 34 weeks. They ended up in the NICU for 3 weeks after they were born. They came home because they ended up being healthy after that. They were fine. They developed fine. They started growing, and they're fine now. They're great. But because of that history, right? Because of that history, you know, as I have more babies, I got to be more cautious, which I was. Like, you know, I was walking around. I knew the signs of when I was supposed to have the baby because I was being seen, but I wasn't being seen as often. So I knew the due date. I knew, you know, all these other things, what to watch for, like, you know, whatever. And I knew I wasn't going to get into the vaccines. So, and I did want to try to do a natural delivery with Gianna. I wanted to try to do that. I didn't want to have any more surgeries. So with that one, with that pregnancy, I was more cautious. I did do my walking. I did have my, you know, try to eat healthier because I didn't want to get gestational diabetes again. And everything was fine. Like, I was watching myself. I did not go to the hospital as much, but I did go to the hospital a little bit in the beginning. So it was kind of like it was you know, I was on track. You know what I'm saying? I didn't take prenatal vitamins. I didn't do any of that. I just, you know. Anyway, so when she was about to come out, I ended up getting sick. And then I got pink eye. So I got sick. She came in September. So I got sick with like a cold or something, fever. And then I had pink eye. But I was having contractions like every 5 to 7 minutes. So I was like, okay, it's time to go in the hospital. Like, let's go. I'm going to try to, you know, I'm sick, but I'm feeling the baby and the baby's coming. So I'm like, you know, hopefully I was doing all the things that needed to be done in order to get my cervix to open and expand and whatnot. At least I thought, you know, I was walking up a hill. I was doing lunges. I was doing squats. I was like doing everything, getting my contractions going. When I get there, they check me out. They check me in. And they're like, oh yeah, like, we see the contractions, but you're sick, you have a high temperature, and also the baby's getting really hot, and also they said I had protein in my urine. They gave me magnesium, which was slowing the contractions down. But they didn't, in my paperwork, it didn't say that I had preeclampsia, which I thought was the case, which is, I thought why they were giving me magnesium. I feel like they were trying not to let me have the baby, but they said that her heart rate was increasing and it was getting dangerous for her because she was getting too hot. So I was like, okay, you know what? I agreed with that, and I was just like, fine, you know. I was upset that they were going to give me a surgery again, but it's nothing I could really do about it because they just refused. Since the contractions slowed down because I was getting magnesium, they just refused to try to help me have the baby naturally. So they scheduled me for a C-section. I had the baby the next morning. She got here. All right, the next baby, Gianni. Turns out with that one, so I did not do prenatal care or anything like that. I did not even go to the hospital. I said, fuck it. They gave me, I felt him coming, and so what happened? No, I knew the due date. I think I did go to like an appointment because I knew the due date. The estimated due date was supposed to be, so Gianna came at, her expected delivery date was September 28th. She came on September 26th. Gianni's expected delivery date was October 2nd. So they were going to be like almost spot on a year apart. Crazy. And then, but he came October 8th. I waited because I wanted to try again to have another baby naturally, right? So I waited and I did my lunges, did my stuff, and was really trying to have the baby naturally. You know, I did not get sick, but it said in my paperwork that I had developed preeclampsia with like issues or some shit. I forgot the wording. But I was like, oh, okay, so I got preeclampsia with this one, not the last one. Crazy. So because of that, they were like, it's not safe for you to deliver naturally. We gotta get you another C-section. So I was like, okay, fine. So at this point, I kind of just accepted the fact that I was never gonna deliver naturally, and I was always just gonna have a C-section with any baby that I chose to have, because of how the initial things started out with the twins and the history with that. One moment. Anyway, so I just became okay with, if I have another baby, it's gonna be a C-section. I didn't get any care with Gianni. Like I said, I think I went to like first few appointments, got the due date, was like, okay, cool, I'll see you around that time. Okay. And I go to the same place because it's just easy, and actually they're pretty good. The Women's Center in Grossmont, Mesa, they actually have been winning awards for how they treat pregnant women and their successes for the past 3 years now. So that's pretty cool. I just found that out last weekend when I was there. But anyway, let me finish. So anyway, he came out good. They scheduled for a C-section. He came out that morning. So boom. Now, what, a year and a half later, I'm pregnant with Chunk, Giovanna. So I didn't do no care. Oh, and with all the other, with Gianna and Gianni, no eye stuff, no meds, no shots, no none of that. And they're perfectly healthy, strong, and all that. Right? Okay. So with Chunk, it was the same thing. I did not, this time, however, I did not, did I get a due date? Oh, wait, let me think. Ooh. Ooh. I don't know. I don't think I got a due date. I don't think I went to the hospital at all. Just with Gucci, I did not go to the hospital at all. I guesstimated. So I think that I guesstimated with her too. I think so. Or it was either I did get a due date and it was gonna be like my birthday or March 31st. Either I did, or it was either that, or it was something like that, or I just was estimating really well. Whatever. I ended up going to the hospital because I had contractions like, a few days before my birthday, because I was like, oh my god, we're gonna be birthday plans. But she came out March 28th, so yay. No medicine, no shots, no vaccines, no nothing. Okay. And I already knew I was gonna have a C-section, so boom, I did not have any appointments, no none of that. I went in like around when I estimated she was gonna be born. Went in, was like, hey, I'm having contractions, this hurts, blah blah blah. Look at my history, you'll see. So they were like, oh yeah, okay. So they found me and was like, yeah, we're just gonna schedule for a C-section. Cool, baby's here, we're all good. Same thing happened with Gucci. I did not go to the hospital at all. I didn't have any appointments. It was just like, well, I'm pregnant. Here we go again, right? Had him. I estimated like when we're gonna have him. I wasn't having contractions until towards the end of February, so we decided to just go on February 24th. No, February 23rd, and then they were like, oh yeah, you're 40 weeks. Let's take this baby out. So take him out, blah, 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 whatever. He's here, we're healthy. Okay, so this past one, right, no meds for him too. He's strong, sturdy, was walking at 1 year old exactly. So anyway, good with that. Now this past baby, okay, everything's fine, everything's great. No vaccines, no medicine, no nothing. However, let me just tell you, okay, now, don't do what I do what you want. I did what I wanted, and this is how it worked for me. So, I said all that to say, all these times I did not have any doctor's appointments. So with this past baby, I did not go to any doctor's appointments, okay? I just had I did not take prenatal vitamins. I didn't have any meds, all right? I just knew I was pregnant. I knew when I missed my period. I calculated for when I should go to the hospital to have the baby delivered. so that they can get me in C-section. And I knew they were going to do it right away because of my history. So my history was that I had preeclampsia a couple of times. I had, because I've had so many surgeries, I had adhesions, I had scar tissue, I had all these things that's messed up in my uterus to where my uterus was just stressed out. My uterus is shot and my uterus is done for. Like, it's like, okay, so this is what the doctor told me this past time. Like last weekend, okay, whenever I went in. So basically, I had scheduled with my mom so she could help watch the kids, so that my husband and I can go to the hospital on June 26th. So where I was like, yep, I'm just gonna go on June 26th. I'm gonna be like, you know, I'm having contractions, whatever. Boom, let's do this. And that's what ended up happening. I ended up having contractions. They were irregular, but there were still contractions. I went in on the 26th, and they ended up taking him out on the 27th. So that's his birthday, June 27th. Yay! And he's here and healthy, and so am I. So, but only because of God, because this is what was going on. And it's crazy because all the bad things that they say was going on and what's wrong with me, it was like I still felt fine. Like I didn't feel any of that. It just felt normal, like I was having contractions. So yes, I had protein in my urine, but I did not have preeclampsia. Yes, I was having contractions, but they were irregular. But also the danger with that, but the area below my lower tummy, like it's my lower tummy area, it was really tender. So when they were doing the sonogram, he was pushing on it because he was trying to figure out how old the baby was, because I did not have any appointments. I didn't go to any appointments, so nobody knew exactly how far along I was. Like I guesstimated that I was about, you know, I was full term. Like I guesstimated that I was full term. But I kind of guessed, I knew I was below 40 weeks because they had told me previously with one of the other previous pregnancy, you know, C-sections, that because I had so many adhesions and scar tissue and whatever, they had to, you know, that they cut, right? And you know, they cut the incision like this. But mine was like a T, like that. So, which is more dangerous because the stress of the baby against the T, you know, there's just a lot more that could bust open, right, if anything were to happen. So I would have to come in, if I were to have more kids, because of that incision, I would have to come in at 37 weeks max in order to safely have another baby, right? Hold on. Anyway, my God. So, where was I? OMG. So they told me to come in earlier at the 37 weeks because I had a T. And so I was like, all right, cool. So I was just following doctor's orders. I went in when I thought was 36 weeks. So I went in at 36 weeks, which is what I thought was pretty accurate, pretty spot on. Plus, I couldn't take the pain anymore. Like, the pain was a lot more intense. Even though the contractions were irregular, they were painful. They hurt. It wasn't taking my full breath away because they're like, oh, if you're having contractions that take your breath away and they're 5 minutes apart, that's when you come in. But it just was hurt. It just was painful because right on my bottom lower belly was really tender. So went in. So yes, went in on June 26th. And they took a look at what was going on. They did the whole little sonogram thing. He's pushing hella hard on my shit. And then he's like low-key scolding me because I didn't do any doctor's appointments. I didn't get checked at all. You know, nobody knows how big the baby is and all that, even though I feel like my calculations were close to correct. You know, he's just like, with all your problems, you shouldn't be doing them. You know, there's no reason you shouldn't come in. You know, whatever. Okay, believe what you want. Okay. What's going on, doc? Like, just help me right now, okay? So, they tell me basically that there's a window. There's a window in my uterus, okay? There's a window in my uterus. And she was like, it was like a saran wrap screen. basically, where the baby is, and you know, which is very dangerous. And yeah, she was hoping that my, what's that called? That the babies be attached to placenta. She was hoping that the placenta wasn't lodged into the stomach and causing problems and shit. So they ruled that out. Everything looked good, basically. Basically, what happened was they checked the baby out. Alright. And as he's doing that, I'm looking at the screen. And just a little side note, I thought it was hilarious. They said, because, you know, my husband has a thing where when he was younger, he had a big ass head. And our baby girl, Chunk, she has a big head for her size, and it's hilarious. And so does Gucci. So I'm like, oh shoot, here's another big-headed baby, right? Because when he was checking the size of the head, so he measured the head, and the head it turned out to be 38 weeks. Okay? Based on the size. And then he measured the arm, and the arm was 36 weeks. So I'm like, how is that? Like, that looks like a big ass head. Anyway, so I'm like, so he's like, yeah, we don't really know how old the baby is. Could be, so the baby, based on that, the baby's basically between 36 and 38 weeks. Okay, I was pretty much dead on with what I thought, right, of when I should go in. So I'm like, okay, cool, like we're right on schedule, right? So anyway, said all that to say, there's a window in my thing, you know, that's why I was feeling tender, but there's nothing wrong with the placenta, there's nothing wrong with the baby. The baby developed fine, didn't have any abnormalities, he wasn't tripping, nothing was wrong with him. He just looked like he could be 36 to 38 weeks old and looked to be about 6 pounds. So I'm like, oh, cool, you know, let's take him out. Like, I mean, he's ready. Right? Okay, so they scheduled me based on all of that. They didn't want anything to happen because there was a freaking thin ceramic wrapped screen window in my ute, and you know, they didn't want anything, you know, going wrong with that. And based on my history, they took all these precautions so that if anything should happen, then, you know, I would have blood on hand. I would, you know, have all these other meds on hand so that nothing would happen and everything would be A-okay. One thing that I did appreciate with this last surgery, okay, last one, it is my last one, okay, that they didn't actually come off as though it was a huge problem that only, okay, let me finish my sentence. They didn't come off that it was a huge problem that that I had waited and did not have like prior appointments and wasn't getting checked and had all these problems or had that window in my uterus. It was just more of like a matter of fact sort of deal. You know, the people the surgeons that have operated on me before, they kind of made it seem like it was going to be a huge problem, a huge issue, like, oh, we're going to be in surgery for hours, like, I got to do all this and that just to get the baby out, oh my gosh, like, you know, just complaining. Like, the only person that was basically scolding me was the freaking sonogram technician dude. Okay? You know, and I get it, I guess, he was more concerned about my health and the baby's health, and sure, that's fine. But I appreciate that this time around, the surgeons that I had, oh my god, hold on. Anyway, they didn't come across as though it was going to be such a difficult surgery. Like, they didn't come across as if it was going to take so long. They just was, you know, they were just like, oh, it's going to be a little bit longer because you've got these things we got to go around, and we want to make sure that everything is okay and that nothing actually ruptures and nothing actually, you know, you don't bleed a lot and things like that. More concerned, right? So I'm like, oh, this is great. This is great. Like, this whole team is what I was looking for, because I liked the doctors who worked on me with Gucci, our second to last baby. But it wasn't them. It wasn't exactly them, but it was close. It was like the same kind of manner of people, right? So that was exciting, right? Okay. So, so even though all that was going on, they took all the extra precaution. I had freaking 2 IVs in my freaking arm. Even with, because when I get my blood drawn or when I get an IV, it's hard to, find my veins because they're so small. They, on the first go around, they just decided to do a freaking ultrasound to find the vein. And I'm like, you guys should have been doing this every single time because that's dumb. Like, it was real quick. He found it and he put it in a spot that wouldn't interfere with anything. And I'm just like, oh my God, this is great. So they found the veins. I didn't have any marks on my arm from people looking and not finding it. I go to surgery. Now this was really weird. And this is the first time that this happened. So I go into surgery, or I go to I was already prepared because they were kind of pretty much preparing me because there was a high chance I was going to have the surgery, and I already knew it because, I'm not new to this, right? So I go in there, I'm already prepared for surgery. I get in the surgery room. He's going to do the spinal, right? And that's I hate that part. That's like the worst part. Everything else was like smooth. That's like my least favorite part of even getting a C-section is the freaking spinal. So, but I can do this, right? I love challenges, so whatever, let's do this, right? So I know what to do. You gotta poke your back out. You gotta be sure you gotta, not move, right? When they're freaking messing with your freaking spine. So the guy, he puts the needle. He shows me like on my back where he's gonna do it. He puts a needle in there. I think to just position the spot where he's gonna put the medicine. Because he puts a needle in there and then he brings I think another needle just to push the medicine in. So I have not seen it, and I'm pretty sure if I look it up on YouTube, I'll be able to see what they were doing to me, but I could feel it, right? It's on my back. So he puts the first needle in there, right? Boom. Yanks it in there. He's fishing around. I think he's trying to find the spot because there's like a certain spot in your spine where that connects to everything else. So the bottom part is like your bottom lower half of your body, and so that's where they put it in. That's where they put the medicine in to numb, like from my chest, I think it's like up here down. Okay, so he puts the needle in there first. He's wiggling it around. I think he's trying to find it. But what happens is my legs go like this. Oh, watch. He puts it in there, and my legs go like this. Boom, boom, and then kick, right? By itself. I didn't kick my legs. He did that from behind my back. And I'm like, oh shit. Is that normal? He just flipped my legs up like, is that normal? He could so they're like, oh yeah, it's perfectly normal. And I'm like, that never happened to me before. This is curious. And so I feel like shots of pain in my legs too after that. And I'm like, bro, is this normal? Yeah, I'm still feeling the shots of pain. And they're like, oh yeah, it's normal. It's okay. So I'm like, all right. So I kind of look up from that situation. I look up and I feel like they had given me some drugs because things were starting to look slow. The nurse's eyes looked real big. And I could see all her color. They were like light brown or some shit. And she was just looking at me like, you okay? And I'm like, I don't know. What's going on? I feel weird. And they were like, oh, I think you need to lay down. All of a sudden, I'm in a dream. I'm having a dream. I don't remember what the dream was. I know there was loud music playing. I can hear the music really loud. Something was going on in the dream. And then all of a sudden, I open my eyes. Or all of a sudden, a light turns on. And the doctors and the nurses are in my face like, you okay, you okay, you okay? And I'm like, bruh. I'm on my back. Oh, excuse me. And they're like looking down at me like, are you okay, are you okay? And I'm like, yeah, like I had to figure out. It was kind of like I had to figure out what I was doing there, what was going on, like the situation that I was in all over again, and then all of that information just came rushing back into my brain to where I knew exactly what was happening, where I was, what was going on, and what the situation was. To where I sat up fully. I looked down at my legs. And I was like, oh, my legs aren't numb yet. What's happening? But that first split second of me waking up and looking, and I'm like, what the fuck just happened? Where am I? What's happening? What's going on? And why, right? So it was. I was like, did I pass out? Like, did I literally just pass out just now? It was crazy. Like, I've never passed out before, ever, and I've never just blacked out like that. I have blacked out, but not like that. That other blackout involved alcohol, which was. Anyway, I've never blacked out like that before. So, he was like, yeah, I was like, my legs aren't, I can still feel my legs. Like, what's happening? He was like, yeah, I didn't give you the medicine yet. All right, so what were you doing? You just fucking with my legs? Anyway, so I was like, all right, we gonna do this or not? Like, let's go. I'm trying to get this over with. Like, I don't know what just happened. I just passed out, but let's get this over with, please. So I was like, they were just like, yep, I'm just gonna do this real quick. So he just, this time, I guess he found it right before, I don't know, but he just put it in, put the medicine in, and was like, all right, you're good. I was like, okay, fuck, right? Like, oh my God. Like, that just felt so weird, like, him fucking with my legs like that, like, bro, it's just crazy. But anyway, so I'm numb. They take the baby out. You know, we're good to go. Healthy. Nothing happened. No bleeding happened. No excessive bleeding. I didn't need the second IV in case something crashed, right? They even gave me the medicine that they give you if you feel like you're gonna be nauseous, because your chest, from your chest down, it's like numb. So all your organs are numb. Your freaking the lungs feel heavy, you know, and usually, you know, it feels like you're gonna throw up, but they gave me the medicine early on. Like, they didn't want me to feel no kind of discomfort, you know. And I feel like after that little scare, everybody was on their toes, right? Everybody was like, okay, let's make sure nothing else happens, right? So anyway, and the actual surgery from start to finish was like real quick. It was like one of the quickest like surgeries like it was just quick. Like, I was like, damn, I thought I had all these adhesions and scar tissues and everything else and all these layers you guys had to go through just to get the baby out. I thought it was really that bad, but I guess not. Like, they took that mess out right quick. So that was exciting. Anyway, so yeah, then I went to recovery, and man, I will say that ever since my pregnancy with Gianna, we do a ritual tradition, whatever, of taking gummies to the hospital and taking gummies. I think that first night, you know, because why not? Like, they're giving me meds, but for some reason they don't want to dope you up. That you have to like literally say, hey, I'm in pain, and my pain is a 10 or a 9 or a 10, and you know, even while you're giving me Tylenol, Motrin, because that's what they get. That's what they do at that hospital. It's not until you say, hey, I'm still in pain. My pain is still a 9 or a 10. I can't even walk. I'm in such pain. Then they'll give you Oxy. Like Oxy, and sometimes they gave me Norco or whatever, stronger medicine in order to deal with the pain, because it hurts. Like, it still freaking hurts. Like, you know what I mean? So anyway, you know, everything's fine. Everything's good. I'm just glad I'm still alive. Even with everything that was going on, all the little freaking things that I know about my body now, like the whole window situation, the T situation, the whole, because it is more than just my preeclampsia, and I didn't have diabetes this time. I honestly only had gestational diabetes once, which was with the twins. Everything else, I didn't, so I'm not diabetic or anything. hypertension a little bit, but everything else, it's like my body is strong enough to handle it, which is crazy. Like, it's a blessing, honestly. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, God. Apparently, these kids are here for a reason, okay? And I'm still here for a reason. So I'm just gonna run with that, okay? Yep, I'm running with it. So that's what happened with that baby, okay? Had the baby in 60 days. I got my stuff taken off in 60 days, okay? With the taxes, I do have to send a response letter. I did get a response from the freaking IRS. Okay, they're playing games. They're not playing games. They just want to be extra sure. Because people are playing games out here, and some people don't be serious. But I'm serious. So I need to let them know that, hey, I'm serious, and this is I got the proof right here, because they really want to make sure, double and triple check. Okay, they want to make sure that everything is tip top and accurate, which is cool, especially if you're dealing with that type of money. And I also have some updates that I want to actually put to use, to action. Other things that I've learned about the IRS that I will be putting into action. But I'm gonna take this 60 days at a time, because I feel like that works for me. Now, me personally, I am a procrastinator, right? It took me a while to get this video update going, only because, I had the baby. I had to rest up. I was in pain. Even before I went to the hospital, I was in pain. I was in so much pain. I was throwing up. I wasn't even able to eat the day before I even went to the hospital. So it was a little bit more difficult of a pregnancy than I was used to. But it is my last one, because if I do have any more, then it would be a serious danger to my life. And I don't want to risk not being here for my other children just to have more kids, when I already have a lot. I have an abundant amount. For me personally, me and my current husband have 5 kids, and all together we have 8. So that's a good amount, right? We're good with the kitties. Hold on. Okay, let me wrap this up because people gotta go to the bathroom. Anyway, but yeah, I will be doing a whole nother 60-day. It's gonna be a challenge because I'm a procrastinator. I do procrastinate. But having deadlines, it helps me stay on track and keep focused so that I can actually get things done. Because I don't want to work under pressure all the time. I like working under pressure. I work well under pressure. But, that doesn't mean that everybody else does. Like, the rest of my family does not work well under pressure. They don't like pressure. So, for me to put them under pressure all the time is not fair. So, having a whole deadline and getting things done in 60 days, big things, right, that I consider life-changing things, right? Getting those things done in 60 days, it does push me to not procrastinate, right? If I procrastinate going to the hospital, I might not even be here, right? So I had to prioritize, and I just want to encourage everybody to do that, whether you're a procrastinator or not. Even with something that you don't even want to face, might be scared, I don't know, make you nervous, like, you set a deadline. You gotta set a deadline to get that shit done, because you just never know. Like, you just never know. That bankruptcy just might come off within that deadline. And then what are you gonna do when it does come off? Huh? You're gonna have a whole nother. I do, because I'll just let it sit and be like, oh, it came off, and then I'll just get distracted with something else. Nope. This next 60 days, I'm about to do TransUnion, Equifax. If I get it knocked off in 45, I'm still gonna have another 15 to do what? Hey, get a car, get a house, get something else that I can get on credit that I wasn't able to, back when my credit was fucked up, right? Before the 60 days, right? So, I'm so glad. I feel like God really showed me that to guide me personally because he knows me. He knows I procrastinate. He knows I don't want to do nothing. He knows I'm lazy most of the time. He knows that I'm not trying to, you know, I really, he knows that I deep down I really just want to entertain myself all day, but I can't. Right? I can't just entertain myself all day. You know, I've got too many children, I've got too many responsibilities, and hey, we gotta get out of here. This place is a hell no. Okay, so hey, I did it, you can do it too. And I'll see you on the next one. Let me do my hair, okay? I'm gonna do my hair. You'll see my next hairstyle. Guess what color it's gonna be this time? I was a Food Fairy for more than 60 days. Oh yeah. Even with the hair, keeping the hair in for 60 days, like that should encourage somebody to on their little hair journey. You know what I'm saying? I left that mess alone. I did my little oil every other day, every other 3 days, 2-3 days. I didn't have to do it every day, but you can. You know, my hair ended up longer and thicker and shit. So, you know, even leaving my hair in for 60 days, and I left it in for longer than 60 days. I think it was like at least three or 4 months, honestly. Okay. Which it's easier to do with braids rather than crochet. That's just my hair personally. But anyway, I'll see you guys next time with a new hairstyle and some new updates. Alright? Maybe I'll come back tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? See you tomorrow. See you when I see you. Okay, bye.